Thank you. Um, my name's Harry Wiener. I'm seeking the Democratic Party endorsement for the governing board of West County Wastewater District Division 4. I'm pursuing this office to serve the public, bring a progressive perspective to the agency whose mission is to improve the environment, protect human health, and to enhance my community. I'm completing my second term as director and would appreciate your continued trust by supporting my endorsement. My campaign theme is West County Wastewater District, a resilient today and a sustainable future. A resilient today. During my tenure, the district passed an environmental justice policy, a climate action plan, established a capital improvements department, established a project labor agreement, established a diversity, equity, and inclusion policy, is very healthy financially, established WCWD as a great place to work, created a plan to protect our treatment plant and surrounding communities from sea level rise, will complete a nationally recognized clean and green project by the end of 2024, reducing district greenhouse gas emissions by 93%, produce all the energy to run our treatment plant and pump stations, 4.2 million kilowatts, and save 2 million per year for our ratepayers. I believe it's more than that, but I'll have to look again. This is from our outreach material. A sustainable future. Maintain the financial health and establish the district as an environmental leader in the region. Assure the district provides community benefits beyond the great services we currently supply. With a community benefits policy, establish a ratepayer advisory committee and renew the project labor agreement and strive to be carbon net negative by 2030. Please support a WCWD, a resilient today, a sustainable future by voting to endorse me in November. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so let's get started with some questions. So can you give us an overview? What is the state of the capital assets of the district?
Uh, Up until 3 years ago, we had a large capital improvement plan, but we didn't have enough financial clout to attack it sincerely. And most of our infrastructure was built in the 70s and 80s, and it came out of the Clean Water Act from Washington, D.C. So we have 50-year-old infrastructure, and in some cases, even older. And for many years, the district was the lowest priced sewage district in the East Bay, and I think in San Francisco Bay. And so maintenance also was put aside for low rates. So our district has uh, borrowed $80 million just recently, and we're putting that into our cleaning green project. And by doing that, we're going to generate our own electricity. So we have all new digesters, and we have in previous years also replaced a number of our infrastructure, larger infrastructure projects. We've also started a program of replacing all our pump stations and have done at least 3 or 4 of the 12 that we have. And we are also replacing pipe. We've done a study on where water gets into our pipes and have prioritized that. And we've also automated all of our um, planning, so we have data to show where and when we need to move on to the next maintenance or next capital improvement plan.
All right. Um, so what is the 5-year plan for the district?
Well, we're going to need to look at our rate structure going forward because if we want to continue with our capital improvement plan at a decent rate, we're going to need to think about how we um, what do you call finance that. So far, our district has done quite well. When we borrowed the money, we borrowed at the lowest rates available ever. And now rates have risen. We're actually able to, within the state, within state law, earn more interest on the money before we spend it than it cost us to get it. And we're also, but we've been spending our capital improvement plan dollars very quickly while we do our clean and green project. So it's been 3 years that we've worked on that. So going forward, we already have our capital improvements plan. We need to fund it. We already have our maintenance plans. We need to continue uh, with our budgeting for operations to support the maintenance and capital improvements. We're looking for grants and uh, we've been pretty successful. We also have entered into a community partnership regarding sea level rise, where we joined a community organization that began before we got involved called Resilient by Design that started talking about sea level rise along the Richmond shoreline. And
Well, that actually kind of leads into my next question, which is how do you plan to address environmental concerns related to wastewater management, particularly in reducing pollution, protecting our local waterways, and the bay, of course.
well, our district is at sea level, and that's basically how sewage collection works. You start from the high place and then you go to the low place. So we put our plant at the lowest spot in our district. And so we've begun working on what are we going to do about sea level rise. And as I was beginning to describe in the last question, we got involved with a community group called Resilient by Design, and that's morphed into an ever larger organization of many agencies and many public interest groups. And the district took the lead in, because we own so much of the shoreline, we took the lead in the focus of this large group of organizations and civic groups. And we're talking about a multi-use levy, which we call a living levy or a horizontal levy. And it will provide all kinds of public resources, parks, pathways, all above sea level rise, and will be constructed to allow, as sea level rises, instead of inundating particular ecosystems, we will plant those ecosystems on a gentle slope so that they can exist as the water rises. They can move with the water. And that we've gotten a plan for doing that. And we've just recently got a grant and we'll be at 66%. And now we're working with the federal government, state and local government to fund it.
Thank you. You talked about rates. So, as you know, Prop 218 prevents using ratepayers to subsidize other ratepayers of lower rates. What strategy does your district use with other forms of revenue to subsidize low-income ratepayers?
So far, we've uh, subsidized everybody. We have a program where you can apply to upgrade your lateral, which is owned by the every household, and we will subsidize you depending on the size of the job to upgrade your lateral. And this is very important because part of sewage processing is the amount of water that comes into the plant. And if there are cracks in our gathering system, then you will get too much water, and that can cause us to have problems processing our sewage. So we've done that. We've subsidized everyone in general, not based on any economic need, but we've also advertised our process heavily in areas where generally the ability to afford upgrading your laterals is limited. So and it's no accident that the neighborhoods that have the most inundation are the neighborhoods that need the subsidy the most. So that's kind of how we approached it to keep it within 218. What I would like to see, and I believe there's an appetite for this on the board, is a community uh, program that would allow our contractors to fund um, the community program so we could then distribute the money. Since it's not from our ratepayers directly, we could distribute money to help subsidize our ratepayers that can't afford higher.
All right, we have one minute question. So let's be brief, and then we're going to have you close out. Last question, 1 minute. What is the relationship between this district and the other various communities, and what is an example of collaboration?
Well, the resilience by design that brought together the community, many community groups that border the border the shoreline, and it's grown and it has a life of its own, and we're just one member of that large organization, and that is and since we took the lead because we have so much of the property on the shoreline that would affect the communities, um, our focus is to use our expertise in the planning stages and also our connections to higher governmental levels to seek funding for a project that's designed by the community, basically. So that's our big community involvement. But we've hired, I mean, we have a public relations, and we have gone to,
All right.
we've
Uh,
done so much, I can't fit it all in a minute.
hey, put it on the website. Um,
It's
well,
there.
well, all right. Well, we're going to close out. So you get 1 minute to uh, have our last words.
Thank you for this opportunity to have the Democratic Party endorsement. Since I'm running unopposed and will continue my tenure at the West County Wastewater Board, I have been asking myself how to use this opportunity to close my interview. My answer is to discuss with those gathered here a matter that is better left undiscussed in polite circles. No, not sewage treatment, poop to power, climate resilience, or greenhouse gas reduction. I'm talking about taxes. As all elected persons, I must face choices regarding budgeting. The choice is always priorities versus revenues. Unfortunately, after 30 years of economic stagnation in the working and middle class, and the constant political refrain of government must do more with less, We find ourselves choosing between necessity and necessity, hopelessly putting off maintenance and necessary capital replacement. Let's all
Why don't you
let's
go ahead and
all
finish your
change
sentence?
the dialogue. Let's all change the dialogue and make the wealthy pay their fair share and distributed that to local agencies. Thank you.
Thank you.